Yo, what's up, internet? So, in case you can't tell, this is going to be a Homestuck video. Now, this isn't going to be just any Homestuck video, this is going to be me trying to explain Homestuck. Yeah, I know, you guys have probably heard all of the videos before explaining Homestuck in all this really nice formatted ways, and they're just trying to help their friends and stuff to understand Homestuck. But I thought I'd put a little twist on this. And this twist being, I'm flying in blind. I'm going to try to explain Homestuck without any assistance to my own general knowledge, and to just dive right in and go ahead and explain. So, let's go. But before we start, I just want to say I do not own any of the pictures, and I do not own Homestuck itself. Homestuck is owned by Andrew Hussey, the Lord and Savior of pretty much everybody who is in the Homestuck fandom like I am. I have sold my soul to him, basically. But anyway, let's just dive right in. So, the whole story starts on April 13th, the main character, John Egbert's birthday. We start the story in John's room, you know, just chilling out, looking at all of his Nick Cage shit, and just going through life with him so far. And we learn that John has 3 friends. And they're not your normal friends that you would see at school that would just come over to your house and stuff or live in your neighborhood. They're internet friends. They're like goals for internet friends, though. They're like the OGs of internet friends. Dave Strider, Rose Lalonde, and Jade Harley. Those are his 3 friends. And if you notice that there's a similarity between Rose and Dave and Jade and John, I'll get to that later, okay? Not right now. So, they're all wishing John a happy birthday, and they're all hoping that they'll get to play a game. This game is called Spurb. Let's just say they start playing the game and they fuck shit up and a meteor starts coming down on John's house. Yep. And John gets transported into the land of wind and shade, which is an ugly land filled with oils and salamanders. Lots and lots of salamanders. Behold my robes! Basically, that's the freaking entire first part of John's world. Behold the robes. So Rose and John are playing, and they realize that they need to get Dave and Jade playing so they can, you know, save their lives. So Dave and Jade, they start playing too, along with John and Rose. And along the way, John starts getting messaged by a certain somebody. Now, this person isn't a person in the first place, it's Carcat. Carcat's a troll from the planet Alternia. And Carcat's not alone. He has the 11 other trolls with him. Now, you're probably thinking, why the hell are there 12 trolls? Why is this important? Well, each troll represents one zodiac sign. Carcat representing Cancer. So, he's pretty much like the leader of the group, just don't ask. And I'm not gonna get in too far into the trolls, other than, like, they all have different blood colors, because explaining the trolls is a whole other video. I'll explain that in a whole other video. Just deal with this now. So, Carcat and all the other trolls, they're trying to lead the humans to victory because the trolls are the humans' gods. They created the Earth and the humans in their own version of Spurb called Scrub. I know, weird name, just deal with it. So they created the humans in their own version of the game. They're just trying to lead them because if the humans win, then they win. You get it? You get the gist? Kind of? Okay, it gets complicated from here on out. But the humans screw up royally, and they end up having to scratch the game on this ginormous record. So they have to scratch the game, but before they scratch the game, they have to do something. They have to die. But don't worry, they're still alive. And you're probably wondering, why the hell are they still alive and dead at the same time? They died on their quest beds and became god tier. So John became the heir of breath, Jade became the witch of space, Rose became the seer of light, and Dave became the knight of time. They all have really awesome hoods, and they're just freaking balling. So, they're god tier, which makes it really hard for them to die. The only way that they can truly die is if they die a heroic death or a just death. So, it's really hard to freaking die. You might think, oh my gosh, you're gonna die so easily. You can't die that easily. I mean, if you just die while you're fighting, it might be considered heroic, but it might be just like, ooh, you kind of walked in the way. You're fine, you'll come back to life anyway. That's basically how the entire thing works. So they die and become god tier, and they scratch the game, and they start a new session with the new Earth. But they create this Earth to be a paradox of their Earth. So the kids from the original Earth end up being the guardians in this Earth. Now, back on their Earth, they had their guardians. Dave had Bro, John had Nana, kind of, but mainly had Dad. Rose had Mom, and Jade had Grandpa, or Pop-Pop, or whatever you want to call him. So they kind of switch in this world. So John is now Pop-Pop, and, you know, Rose is Mom, and Dave is Bro, and, you know, Jade's freaking Grandma. So, yeah, it kind of screws up the world. But you learn to deal. You learn to deal. And the kids in this world are called the Alpha Kids. Jane Crocker, Roxy Lalonde, Dirk Strider, and Jake English. Yep. God, we have to deal with this again. But, you see, there's a reason why Jane's last name is Crocker, and it is very relevant to Homestuck. Jane is the heiress to the Betty Crocker Empire, and Betty Crocker is a thing in Homestuck. A very big thing. So, basically what happens is they meet up with their guardians. You know, some of them are disappointed, some of them are very happy. Blah, blah, blah. They get over alcoholism. They get over a lot of shit. They fight some things, and they do some things, and they go over some things. And they end up having to fight the bosses. This is like at the very end of Homestuck, so you're gonna have to deal. So, right now we're at the very end of it, and they all split up to go and fight the evil guys, which is Lord English, Jack Noir, Beck Noir, and Betty freaking Crocker. That's right, Betty Crocker's a bad guy. I know what you're thinking. What? How could Betty Crocker be a bad guy? Well, let me tell you. Betty Crocker is a troll. Like the trolls. She is actually the empress of the trolls. Her name is Her Imperial Condescension, or Her Condescension, or Condescension, or Condense, or Condi. Most Homestuck just call her Condi for short because it's freaking easier, okay, than saying Her Imperial Condescension the entire time, unless you're in Condense cosplay, okay? Then feel free to say Her Imperial Condescension as much as you want. But she wanted to take over the Earth because she essentially destroyed her own planet, her own version of Alternia. So she destroyed that and ended up having to take over the Earth because that was the only other place with people intelligent enough to take over. So she decided to take it over with baked goods and call it Betty Crocker. Now you're probably wondering, how in the hell is Jane the heiress to the Crocker Empire? Well, let's just say Condense kind of found baby Jade and baby John in this universe, so they're Nana and Pop-Pop in this universe, and raised them, and John kept the name? Crocker? Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain, but you go on Tumblr, it explains it for you. So, the Condense wants to take over the world with baked goods, and she does that. And then she ends up having to reproduce naturally obsolete by creating robots that just clone your DNA. That's how Dirk and Roxy were created. Jake and Jane don't know about this because they're from the present, whereas Roxy and Dirk are from the future. I'll explain the timelines later, that's another video. But they're from the future, so yeah, they know what the Condense does. Oh, also, the continent kind of melts the polar ice caps to kind of like drown everybody out, and Dirk and Roxy are basically surviving on their own. So Dirk, for his entire life, has been surviving off of orange soda and freaking nacho cheese Doritos, and Roxy has been surviving off of pumpkins her entire life. Dirk lives a lonely life with his robots, and Roxy lives in a community filled with chess people, so yeah, it gets kind of weird, but you know what, that's later videos. This is the now. And so basically they all end up having to fight, and they all end up winning, and they all end up kind of creating a new world with their universe frog. Again, another video, we'll just deal with it. They have their universe frog, and they create their universe, and they create a new Earth, and they live on the Earth with the chess people, and they end up being really happy at the end. Oh, by the way, pretty much almost all of the trolls died, except for a select few that were very loved by the fandom, so yeah, most of the trolls are dead. So, lots of people ended up dying, but it was pretty good. And that's basically Homestuck in a nutshell, at least to my extent. I think I want to call this the Try to Explain Homestuck Challenge, but yeah, I don't think that'll stick. So that was me trying to explain Homestuck in a way understandable to human beings without using a script or without diving in or looking at a piece of Homestuck while I was recording this, mainly because I thought it would be a fun thing to do. So this is a different type of video than normal, so my next video is going to be one where I'm actually showing my face, but the audio quality is probably going to be a hell of a lot worse than this, so you're just gonna have to deal. So let me know if you like these kinds of videos. I am going to make more in the future to explain the trolls and the timelines and stuff and the condens. Just going to make more of those because I like making these. They're actually really fun to make. Face video next time, like showing my face, explaining something that I like, and you know what, if you like it, like the video. If you think that this is a fun thing for me to do, go ahead and comment, because I flew in blind with this. I just explained it off the top of my head. I just thought, hey, all these people sound like they have scripts and they had plans, why don't I try it a different way? And I think it worked kind of well. I just skimmed through years and years of Homestuckness just to give you a brief explanation. And, you know, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all later, and bye!